There are moments in life when both our heads and our hearts tell us that a change has to happen. Whether it be a moral change, a relational change, a political change, a life change, and yet most hesitate to step forward to make those changes happen. We wait, we defer, we deflect responsibility. We convince ourselves that someone else will handle it, that it is not ours to take on. And so what needs to change doesn't. Sometimes continuing to perpetuate harm and suffering, and sometimes simply preserving the status quo, even when something sacred is waiting to be built. We are all familiar with this pattern. We see it in our communities and in the moral challenges of our time. Immigration is but one place where this pattern is painfully clear. Many of us feel outrage at the policies and tactics of the current crackdown. Families separated and dignity eroded, fear woven into daily life. And yet, even when we are enraged, few step forward to help change what we know is wrong, what we know is unjust. I know you've probably already heard Rabbi Greengrass speak with clarity and conviction on this topic, but tonight I want to take what we already know and ask the question that this parsha places before us. What happens when meaningful change is needed and we choose not to step forward? And the Torah's answer is stark. Nothing happens. The suffering continues, and the possibility of divine-human partnership remains unresolved. In Parshat Terumah this week, the Torah commands, V'yasu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. Let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. What's remarkable here is not only what God asks, but what God refrains from doing. There is no miracle. There's no thunder. God doesn't build the Mishkan, but rather God describes it. God imagines it. God invites it. God makes space for it. And then God waits. The Mishkan is not built until the people move into action. This is a remarkable shift in our biblical story, for this is the same God who split the sea and made the mountain tremble at Sinai. And yet here, at this moment when God seeks closeness with the people, God refuses to act alone. For God to dwell among the people, God engages in tzimtzum, a deliberate making of space that paves the way for human and divine partnership and interaction. Not because God lacks power or desire, but because interaction must be chosen and acted upon in order to become relationship. God makes space not simply so that human beings can have room, but so that interaction can grow into relationship through agency and responsibility. If they do not act, the Mishkan, or the tabernacle, will not exist. If they do not bring what they have, nothing is built. That is what divine partnership looks like. If we want to make a change, it will not happen on its own. We must be willing to step forward and set it into motion. And the Torah is clear that stepping forward is not enough on its own. What matters is how we direct what we bring. Rashi teaches that the Mishkan is commanded after the sin of the golden calf. The same gold that people used to build an idol is now used to build the holy sanctuary. The Torah doesn't change the people. It doesn't take away their passion, their urgency, or their desire to give themselves to do something. What changes is what they choose to build. The lesson is not simply about repair. It is about responsibility, in showing up, in being accountable for what we build. The question is whether we allow our energy to harden into fear or false certainty, or whether we direct it toward moral responsibility through our actions. The Torah lingers over the details of what the people bring: gold and silver, fabric and wood, skill and labor. And no single person builds the Mishkan alone. In the building of this tabernacle, holiness emerges through collective action. Sacred life is not automatic, nor does it come into being through intention alone. It takes movement, participation, commitment. And notice where God's voice is ultimately heard. Not from the walls, not from the structure itself, but from the space between the cherubim, the space above the ark where God's presence was believed to dwell, the place of encounter and relationship. God's voice emerges not where everything is finished and perfect, but where human beings meet one another in struggle and in responsibility. This, of course, is not only a teaching about the Mishkan in the wilderness, but a claim about faith itself. Faith in our Torah is not about control or clarity. It's about trust. God articulates a vision and then makes room, trusting that human beings will step forward to meet it and that God will guide us along our way. That is faith as divine human partnership. And Truma doesn't leave us with a teaching alone, but with a call to action and a call to responsibility. Holiness doesn't come into being on its own. It is built when we are willing to bring what we have, our voices, our courage, and our willingness to show up and to take part, and place ourselves inside the unfinished work of holiness and healing in our world. God makes space. The possibility is there. But whether anything is built, whether any positive change is made, depends on what we do next. So on this Shabbat Truma, I invite us to ask ourselves, where in our lives, here in this community or beyond it, is meaningful change calling us not to stand back, but to step forward and to build what is needed to be built? Shabbat Shalom.